welcome to the S&M Sports Talk Podcast. I'm your host, Sharuk, and I'm here with my co-host / wife,
Misty. Hey, everybody.
All right, well, we have had a fun week of all kinds of football, basketball, baseball contracts.
We sure thought nothing was going to happen, and then boom.
Yeah, I know. It's like, when the end of the week comes around, we're like, man, what are we going to talk about? So, anyways, let me think. Did anything happen? Anything Cowboys related we can talk about? Oh, wait a second. I think Jason Witten just came out of retirement.
Yes,
Bam.
he did.
You did not hear it here first, but that's okay. That's not what we're all about.
But you heard it here also.
So, this is huge news. Jason Witten, I guess, had the itch. His quote says, "The fire to play still burns in him." Not sure if that's a cover or not, because I don't know where we were, but apparently he got criticized for, his commentating prowess or lack thereof on Monday Night Football. I think he was maybe a little bit unfairly compared to with Tony Romo, who did a smash job.
That is definitely the case.
Smash job.
Smash
bang-up
up?
job.
Yeah.
There we go. So, I'm not really sure how that all went down. We've listened to plenty of Jason Witten games.
I never thought it was bad.
I never thought it was bad.
And I didn't think I was being a homer either. I just never noticed him being bumbling.
Or were we being homers?
I don't think so, because sometimes I listen to Troy Aikman and I'm like, God, you're annoying.
That's so weird, because I thought Troy was the best, and I think he's been supplanted by Romo.
Oh, he definitely has. For sure.
But I didn't think Witten was bad. And,
No, I didn't either.
It's
no worse than Chris Collinsworth.
Right.
Or Al Michaels.
I hate
They're
Chris
super
Collinsworth's
annoying.
voice. So anyways, to delve more into this, we have our good friend Joe, who's like us, a Cowboys enthusiast. So the next X amount of minutes are going to be completely biased Cowboys talk. So if you're a Cowboys hater, you might want to turn this off. And just a preview, we also got a new game that Misty has come up with called Vopinions. Essentially giving our opinions using a vocoder, so.
Because everything's better with a vocoder.
I don't know.
We'll see.
We'll just have to see how that one plays out. But anyways, I want to start off with a couple of apologies.
This is new, folks. Doesn't happen often.
One, J. Cole is not from Houston.
Oh, yeah. Way to acknowledge your mistake where he's from. He's from Atlanta?
He's from North Carolina, I believe.
Thank you, Mike.
Damn it. I don't want to get that one wrong either.
I'll look it up. Thanks, Mike, for correcting Sharuk.
I want to, I know you guys come to us for absolute perfect broadcasting, and everybody looks to me for perfection. But you know what? Sometimes when you record at 3 o'clock in the morning, you make mistakes. So
he is from North Carolina, sorry.
Is he?
He was born in Germany on a military base, but was raised in North Carolina.
Guten Tag.
Oh, gosh.
So that is one apology. Now, my second apology, I'm just apologizing for the show. I'm not taking personal blame for this one. But somebody in our interview with our buddy Joe forgot to turn Misty's microphone on. So
we should be clear that Misty's not in charge of setting up the microphones.
So are you saying I'm smarter than you, that I set all this up?
I'm saying...
And do all the software and all the editing?
We can share the blame, but I want everyone to know that I'm not really to blame.
So anyways, in this next segment you're about to listen to with our conversation with Joe, what ended up happening was you might hear a little bit of an echo because my microphone picked up Misty's voice, but her own microphone didn't because, it was turned off. So I spent hours, 2 o'clock in the morning, 4 o'clock in the morning, trying to use software to clear it up. I'm not going to bore you with all the editing crap. So then
me, why not everybody else?
Yeah, so then we had Misty do a voiceover, and so it's just...
It was lots of work, y'all.
Yeah, it cracks me up, the amount of work. And it's funny, like, when you hear somebody asking a question, taking it out of context and try to replicate their voice,
it's difficult.
It cracks me up.
Yeah.
So anyways, for this interview, apologies. I will go ahead and take the bullet on this one. I'm sorry about that one. So it's not.
We won't make that mistake again. No problem.
So whatever Misty asks, whenever she talks, you'll hear like a little bit of an echo, a little bit of clipping here and there.
Just
but
pardon the audio.
Yeah, I am by no means an audio engineer. All right, so we will play our little discussion with Joe. He has a lot of, great analysis and takes on, the state of the Cowboys and the whole Jason Witten thing going on. So here we go. All right, so we got a buddy of ours, Joe, on the line. His now wife actually worked with Misty back in the day.
Eddie Bauer, shout out.
Yeah, Eddie Bauer. So for those of y'all that don't know.
I'm sure she'd appreciate that.
Yeah. So for those that don't know, Eddie Bauer was an outdoors clothing and accessory type of a retail store. It's funny. I met Angela because I used to pick up Misty when we were dating, and we have a lot of funny stories that we don't really discuss too much anymore because we've all grown up and we all have kids now. And Joe's got Joe and Angela's got two amazing daughters. That we're lucky enough to see a few times a year when we go back to Funky Town. So Joe, man, tell us a little bit about yourself, buddy.
Oh man, I'm not sure what to tell you. I got been hanging out with you guys for a few years now. Seems like
for sure.
So fortunate enough to hang out with that girl y'all know.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
and it's funny because we were tight with Angela. Well, actually, Misty was really tight with Angela for a long time, and all of a sudden, we just kind of parted ways. I guess we moved
for no reason at all.
Yeah, and all of a sudden, we all reconnected, and then it's there's this guy named Joe.
Oh yeah,
we're getting married, and I think she was like, I think it was we're getting married in 2 months.
Yeah, I feel like that was real close to when we got married. When we all went to Starbucks one day and sat outside for hours.
Yes, on Hewlin, and we were like, "Oh, this Joe guy, it's awesome." So, yeah, for sure. And then it's just we try to get together during the holidays every year. Obviously, we're away, so whenever we get in town, we try to make it happen. But it's good times, man. One thing we all have in common is we love North Texas sports, especially the Cowboys.
Absolutely.
So speaking of, we all got the bombshell yesterday.
What happened?
Oh, yeah. Jason Witten has ended his retirement early, not in the Brett Favre way, but
hopefully
essentially,
not.
Oh, yeah. Hopefully, it's not an ongoing thing.
Yeah, there's no hemming and hawing on this one.
Right, but
I still can't believe it from hearing the news yesterday.
I can't either. It's it's one of those things where. You feel upset when he retired, and you just kind of had to accept it, and then all of a sudden it's
we had just started accepting it.
Yeah,
and I was like, guess what?
Well, but he retired so unexpectedly.
Yes,
it was really crazy because all of a sudden he just wasn't there anymore.
Sure,
he was moving to the booth and had never even heard of him having any interest in it.
Yeah, and he's one of the Cowboy favorites. I mean, he's a stand-up dude.
Absolutely.
He's a warrior. He doesn't take any games off. He doesn't take any plays off.
Wasn't he the head of a players organization or something? He was for a long time, I think, the head of some organization.
That I did not know.
I think so.
I'm not sure about that either.
Right. So Joe, you got the pulse of Dallas Fort Worth. We get Houston. Houston.
Oh yeah. Y'all are stuck down in the armpit.
Yes. So we Houston has a very huge inferiority complex when it comes to North Texas sports. So we don't get too much Cowboys coverage here. But yeah, man. So Witten coming back. Okay, I guess we can get the easiest question out the way. How do you think he's going to do? I mean, I think he caught 65 passes his last season there. I'm projecting 50 to 60 passes, and in the 400 to 550 range yardage wise, a couple of small touchdowns here and there. What is your thought on that?
Yeah, I'm not expecting too much. I think he's going to be more of a coach than anything. He's been dropping off as the years have gone by. I think he got 560 in yardage in 2017.
Okay.
So I'm kind of looking in the 50 range, 50 catches, 400 yards or so.
Right.
Hopefully he'll have a few of those third down breaking up the zone coverage.
Yeah, and I heard an interesting take on. Man, it was probably one of the. Oh, you know what? It was I believe it was like Undisputed with Skip Bayless. He's a huge Cowboys fan, obviously. And he mentioned one of the important things would be, especially in that Raider game, when I think there were 2 4th-and-1 conversions where we couldn't even advance an inch with Ezekiel Elliott. And I think putting Jason Witten as a blocker is just going to solidify our run game even more. And it's funny, we're being greedy now. We're talking about solidifying a run game when we've had the rushing title champion 2 out of his only 3 years playing.
Yeah, and that 1 year he was out for 6 games.
Don't get me started, Joe. Don't get me started. How much time do you have?
I think it's how much time do you have? Y'all are the ones with the time limit here.
Yeah, exactly. So it's just insane. I'm super happy he's back. I mean, even if he has like 35 catches, the profound effect he's going to have in the locker room alone is worth that $3.5 million to me. Just because we have such a young team, and like with Leighton Vander Esch, with Jalen Smith, with these young guys, especially whoever we're going to draft, they need older leaders. Even with Dak Prescott going through the scrutiny he's going through. Yeah, because you know what the funny thing is I kind of shit on Dak a little bit. However, his numbers are pretty good. Okay, his yardage numbers are low, but his completion percentage and quarterback ratings have been very good. So I guess
I feel like he came back a lot this year from last year. Last year seemed like it was a struggle. I think a lot of the Zeke uncertainty really messed with his head.
Sure.
He was throwing a lot more picks and having a lot more struggles. It just didn't seem like things went as well.
Right, and I agree to that. I agree with that. But even this year, because I'm not a numbers guy, I am all about the eye test. It's a little bit of an old school mentality. But there's been so many third downs where he overthrows or underthrows Cole Beasley, or he misleads the receiver, and it doesn't necessarily translate into the box score because the stats actually are pretty good. And other than the yardage number, and like I said in the last episode, he has intangibles that it's hard to put into a numeric sense, but he wins games. If it's like 4th and 12 and he'll get you that 12.5 yards to get that first down, he's a warrior. And I love,
what was it, 16 yards rushing on 4th and 14?
Yes. And look, I love the kid. I mean, when we drafted him, I was like, oh my God, this is gonna be great. He can, sit under Tony Romo for a year. Unfortunately, Romo got injured. Yeah, exactly.
That didn't work out.
I think it was like the first or second play of the preseason game. I wasn't even watching it because in Houston we don't get the preseason games for Cowboys. And my buddy was like, "There goes Romo," and I was like,
What?
"Are you kidding me? It's August."
Not again.
Yeah.
Yep.
But
at that point you didn't even know that Dak was taking it over. I think Kellen Moore was still number 2 on the.
Oh, that's right.
And then Kellen Moore got hurt too.
Broke his leg, man. That's weird.
And we all knew that Kellen Moore was not going to do anything for this team. And Dak had started as the 4th, didn't he? Was Cooper Rush still with him then? Was he there already?
I think Cooper Rush was there. Yeah.
Yeah, and somehow Dak managed to jump him, and then got put in place of Kellen, or maybe Kellen Moore had already been demoted. I don't remember, but I know that Dak was not the first backup.
Okay, I know. Yeah, I know Kellen Moore was in front of Dak. That I know for certain. That's nuts, dude. That's a fantastic recall.
Crazy thought.
Yeah.
He was like 4th in line.
So
I thought that entire season was just absolutely toast, and
and we ended up going
put it together.
I think 13-3 was our record.
Yeah.
But I wonder, I know Witten will help with third downs, even in the running game. Do you think that he's going to help Dak Prescott? Maybe not numerically, but maybe in the eye test. Maybe, it's the 4th quarter, we're down by 7, and we need this 3rd or 4th down conversion. Like, how do you feel like he's going to help Dak?
Oh, I think he's probably going to have 4 to 5 catches this season, probably, where it saves the game or saves a key drive at the end of the game, or all those. I just go back to those zone busters. It seems like he was just gifted at finding the hole in the zone and being right there to catch a first down on third down.
Oh, I totally agree.
And I see the thing I was seeing last year. Of course, you had Swaim early in the season.
Right.
It seemed like he all of a sudden. That's the thing I always look for from a tight end. I'm not looking for the Gronk crazy stuff.
Sure.
I look for get me this first down, get right past the sticks, catch the first down, and then go to the ground or run 35 yards with your helmet off, whatever.
I love that play.
As long as you get past the sticks, that is your job. And you saw Swaim doing it in that game where he broke his hand.
Yep.
And then all of a sudden he's out for the season.
Right.
And then Jarwin gets in there. And finally, the last 2-3 games of the season, of course, he went nuts in that 3 touchdown game.
Yeah, 3 touchdowns, man. I was like, what the hell is going on?
But all of a sudden, you saw him catching those zone busters at the end of the season.
Right.
So that was. I worry a little bit about. Of course, Swaim's probably not going to be here because his contract's up. But Jarwin's going to be here, and I don't know anything about Dalton Schultz, but I know Rico Gathers is not going to be doing anything, just like he's been not doing anything for a few years.
That's frustrating for me because like when we found out that we're getting like this ex-basketball player for a tight end, I was like, oh my god, red zone touchdowns. Like I'm so stoked.
Yeah, he has totally not turned into anything so far.
Yeah.
And I can't figure out why they're hanging on to him. Of course, then again, I also couldn't figure out why they were hanging on to Kellen Moore for so long.
Yeah.
But,
well, you know what? It's funny you mentioned like why are we hanging on? You know, like because look, Jason Witten. It's not like Antonio Gates. It's not like hey, let's play another 2-3 years. Are we going to draft another tight end this year? I mean,
man,
that's like 4 or 5 tight ends in the past 5 or 6 years. Like it's.
Yeah,
I don't understand why we can't.
Where do you take them this year? I mean, you don't have a first round pick. And you've got other needs more pressing than. I mean, I would put tight end probably maybe 5th or 6th on the importance meter.
Yeah, well, I think with all of our drug suspensions, I'm pretty sure that defensive line is like number 1 priority right now.
Yeah,
and that is the most infuriating thing.
It's ridiculous, and it happens so frequently.
I mean, just wait until you get to the draft and you hear drafting in the 2nd round. The Cowboys pick Betty Ford.
Yes. Hey, that would be interesting.
Yeah, there you go.
But Randy Gregory. I mean, for God's sake.
That dude, I understand he's got a problem. He's got some stuff going on, and I feel bad for the dude. At the end of the day, it may just not be for you. Of course, you can say what you want about the NFL's policies and what they should and shouldn't do.
Exactly.
But
it is what it is, and these guys know what it is, and it's part of your job. So
and we know that David Irving, we weren't going to re-sign him anyways.
No,
so
he's gone. So
being suspended there, that it just makes us look bad. But that wasn't a long-term player for us, anyways.
No.
So I haven't actually looked at the draft board on second rounders, like who would be good for our defensive line. So that at a later date, I'm pretty sure like in April, when that close to the draft, I'll be able to like read more into that.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it's still promising. Like I really do think Witten is going to help Dak kind of settle down a little bit, especially with third down stuff. So
I look at Witten kind of like how Sean Lee was last year with Van Der Esch and Jalen Smith, because those guys were just playing out of their freaking minds.
Yeah,
and
Van Der Esch is a beast.
Absolutely.
So when we drafted him in the first round, because I think I was away and my phone pinged Leighton Van Der Esch, Boise State, and I was like, who the heck? Like, why do we have a line? Dude, you have Sean Lee. Like,
what are they doing?
Yeah, and we had Jalen Smith, who sat out a year for that knee issue.
Good thing we have Sean Lee, but he is literally hurt all the time. I mean, I love Sean Lee, but he cannot stay healthy.
So, Joe, I want your perspective, man, because Misty and I bark about this every year, right? She thinks that Sean Lee is injury prone. Okay, fine. He has been injured.
I know he's injury prone.
Damn near every season. However, my rebuttal to that is the dude plays so hard that he, sprains a toe or has turf toe or, sprains an ankle or gets concussed. Like, does that really make him injury prone? It's not like he's breaking bones out there.
No, it's all soft tissue.
Yeah,
his body's just giving up on him.
I just feel like he's playing so hard that he's willing to risk everything.
Oh, he does, but there are plenty of other players in the league that play just as hard, if not harder than him, and don't have the same soft tissue issues.
It's just Sean Lee.
No. Yeah.
It's okay that he's injury prone. I mean, it's fine.
Yeah.
So
I think I have to agree with her on this one. He's just injury prone, and it's unfortunate because I think he could be named with the tops in the league.
Yeah.
If he just was able to play a full 16 games.
So one thing, obviously, all my friends pretty much know about me. When it comes to sports, like, I'm very biased. Like, if I like the guy's personality, everything is forgivable.
And if you don't, then nothing is forgivable.
Dude, you should have heard me fight so many people, like when Romo kept getting injured with the back injury.
So many people. How many arguments do we have in this house?
Yeah.
Like, this is getting ridiculous. Like, don't talk about Romo.
Yeah.
Look at the numbers. He's the best quarterback ever.
Misty and I, truth be told, like, I think it was 2014, that one season that he was gone for, like 12 games or whatever. Yeah. Like, we literally got into, like, a passionate, fight.
It's a good thing we didn't have a podcast then.
Yeah. I was like, you don't ever give Romo any credit.
Why do you hate him?
Yeah. It's like Romo was my best friend. And, like, man, this is nuts.
Yeah. Well, see, on Romo, I was right there with you. But, I had seen him in the preseason that year that he came in.
Right.
Saw him just blowing it up in the preseason.
Right.
And then, of course, Bledsoe was who Bledsoe was.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, Romo comes in and just looks amazing.
Yeah.
And I was on the Romo bandwagon from before he even got put in the game.
Yeah. Okay.
And so I always felt like I took a little bit of ownership with it on that, feeling like I had discovered him before everybody else jumped on the bandwagon. So
it's like you started
breaking. Yeah, absolutely. It was all my call.
Right.
I didn't know I had those connections.
Exactly. Well, yeah, I know now.
Yeah, absolutely. But no, it was it was hard to give up on that, especially because everybody just was blasting him his entire career.
Yeah.
And he was surrounded by absolutely nothing. He had no offensive line. He had no defense. The secondary gave up first downs on every other play.
Right.
He couldn't do anything. And in the one big screw up that defines his career, seems like
that stupid Seattle fumble.
He never even should have been in the stupid game.
Yep.
That's on Parcells. He shouldn't have been in the stupid game at all.
I really don't understand why Romo got that much scrutiny. He's such a nice dude. Like, you don't ever hear anything bad about him.
Here we go.
Okay. Were we supposed to talk about Jason Witten or something?
Yeah.
Anyways.
Send your letters to Tony Romo fan club over here.
What kills me is, you didn't get this much shit for Quincy Carter. And the dude got arrested for drugs.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, Quincy Carter also didn't play as well as Romo did.
Yeah, that's true.
He was out of the league a lot more quickly than Romo was.
But hey, Romo is an amazing commentator, though. I think we can all agree on that.
Absolutely.
Which leads me to the question that I have for both of you to kind of bring it back. So to be clear, I don't think that this is going to happen, but I'm just curious your thoughts. Now that Witten has unretired, how tempted is Tony Romo to come back?
Oh, it's not at all.
Like I said, I don't think it will happen, but do you think he'll start getting that itch?
No, I think he's loving what he's doing and he's getting to play golf.
That is true.
As stupid as this is.
Oh, you want it to happen so bad.
Sitting out for now 2 years. Body's healing. He's probably feeling good. I'm not saying he's going to come back, but I guarantee you he does have the itch. I guarantee you the past 48 hours, or actually 24 hours since we heard the news about Jason Witten, I guarantee you he didn't sleep a wink because he's like, oh, man.
I could do that.
Yeah, I wonder if I can take a year off, just like a year. Give me a running back like Zeke, get me a defense, Byron, oh my God, Byron Smith, Byron Johnson.
Yeah, Byron Jones.
Byron Jones, good Lord. Give me a defender like Leighton Vander Esch, like.
Oh, forget that. Give him Zach Martin.
Yeah.
Tyron Smith. Travis Frederick coming back.
I heard Travis Frederick is progressing very well, and that is what I'm waiting for.
Absolutely.
I feel like that crushed us, especially against the damn Rams.
Yeah. Well, the thing that you don't see there. I mean, who was it? Connor Williams? Is that no? Whoever came in, Looney.
Yeah. Oh well,
Looney
Williams came in the beginning, and he was getting rolled over.
Yeah. Well, Looney came in and filled in the center position when Frederick went out.
Right.
And he did a passable job all season. I mean, you didn't really have people coming up the middle to sack the quarterback or to stop the play. He did all right blocking, but that's only half of the center's job. The center is the quarterback of the offensive line.
Exactly.
And Frederick is just he's Einstein-level genius up there.
Sure.
That's the biggest thing you were missing out of Frederick this season.
Yes. And he's got an amazing beard just on the side.
Yes, absolutely.
I would love to grow a beard like that, but well,
I'm not allowed to get that long.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
It's a bit much if you're not like a professional athlete.
For sure.
Yeah. I have a feeling if I had a career in professional football and was pulling down those millions, a lot would become a lot more passable.
Oh, for sure. Speaking of millions, I don't have any of the numbers. I've done a little bit of number crunching on this, but we have a lot of people that need to get signed. So so the Cowboys have actually they've extended a contract to DeMarcus Lawrence. Obviously, this is the initial phases of negotiation, so you're probably not going to hear crap about this for about the next week to 2 weeks. Especially if other people in the league sign, that always kind of creates or takes away leverage from certain free agents and people under the franchise tag. But then we have Zeke that we need to worry about long term, so we need to get him signed, and obviously Dak. So what I'm worried about is some of the stuff I'm hearing from Dak. Like, people are asking if he's going to give a Tom Brady-esque discount to the Cowboys. Yeah. And I understand Dak made a very nice joke, but it didn't seem like a joke. He said, well, Tom Brady has Giselle's, millions and squillions of dollars coming in. So, and I think
don't forget he's also got the TB12
yeah, exactly.
Company. Just conveniently located in Patriots.
In Gillette Stadium.
Buildings there's nothing shady going on there at all.
Yeah, I know. God, it's so hard to like them, even though Brady is the GOAT. Like, there's no denying.
Oh yeah. Oh well.
Yeah.
I've got an amazing amount of respect for both of them. Even though they cheat, the system.
Right.
But they, in order to do it this many years in a row, it's just
I mean, even to be relevant this many years in a row is just a phenomenal feat they've achieved.
Oh yeah. I always lumped Brady and Romo together a little bit in my head. Brady being a 6th round pick and coming out and nobody giving him the time of day, and then all of a sudden he becomes the GOAT. And Romo being undrafted and coming out and just taking over the world as the Cowboys quarterback.
I have to go back to my parents' attic because I have all these tickets from my past. I actually think that we were at the game that Romo came in for the first time.
We were.
Oh, really?
Okay, yeah, because it was against the Giants, if I'm not mistaken.
We were also there when he broke his collarbone.
Yeah.
We've been there for some big Romo stuff.
So I know the collarbone.
Which time when he broke his collarbone?
Yeah, I know.
The first time.
Dude, we left that game so heartbroken. We're like, dude, season's over.
It was bad.
Yeah.
And I think Kitna might have been his backup.
That was the Kitna season.
And hey,
was it Kitna or was it Sanchez?
No, it was Kitna.
Oh no, Kitna. I like Kitna. He's a good hardworking dude.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Question for y'all: now that Linehan is gone, do you think they'll use Witten in a different way than they were using him before he retired? And where do you think this lands Jason Garrett? I mean, is he just jazzed that Jason Witten's coming back? Maybe he can save his job somehow.
Oh my God! Wait, did Witten come back because Linehan left?
Maybe.
Hey,
you never know.
I could see that.
I mean, I'm sure it's a combination of things, but now that Linehan's gone, we have the potential to have a completely different situation.
Is this a hot take? Have you heard that anywhere else? Like, are we the first?
I think that's the first.
Holy shit, it's happening.
Yeah. There you go.
And that was the moment they became famous.
Exactly.
It's nuts. Like with Linehan being gone, look, the NFL is kind of gearing towards the younger, cerebral coaches and coordinators. So everybody is so high on Kellen Moore because he's young and the dude is very smart and intelligent and is a good play caller apparently. I have no opinion on it because I have to wait and see. I don't like speculation. I don't like thinking what's going to happen. I got to see him in action. Because I don't know. I didn't think he was the best backup quarterback. Obviously,
Oh.
Joe, you didn't either.
No, he was a horrible backup quarterback. He had. I mean, now the dude has some talent because he's got the most touchdowns and the best winning record in NCAA history. Is that what it is?
I think so.
Yeah. I mean, he did something amazing. Now that was when Boise was taking on the
Right.
directional U,
Yeah,
and winning 12 games a year.
for sure.
But yeah, I never liked him in the NFL. I couldn't believe it when they started talking about him as the potential replacement.
Yeah.
Of course, I don't know how y'all felt about Linehan, but I was saying all season long that Linehan needed to go. I mean, violently. My dog really, really hated watching games with me because, and I think my wife hated watching games with me by the end of the season because of it. But
Everybody in the house was like, "We know, Joe. We know. Already, we got it." It wasn't just last season. He's been needing to go for a while too.
absolutely. They were just blah. It was just vanilla out there. They weren't showing anything different. They weren't doing anything pre-snap. This team has not been able to make a halftime adjustment for the last 10 years, it feels like.
Yep. And I remember, I don't remember exactly which game it was, but I think we had first and goal from like the 4-yard line, and we did, ran up the middle with Zeke. That was stuffed. And then we threw 2 passes, and now you have fourth and goal from the 2-yard line, and we run up the middle with Zeke and don't get it. And I'm sitting there, I'm like, dude, come on.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Really bad.
Like, you know who I think was the best coordinator for the Cowboys?
Who's
Other than Norv Turner from my
course.
time of watching. But Jason Garrett was amazing.
He was until he had to take on the whole thing.
Yeah, exactly.
He did really great when that was all he had to focus on.
Yep. When Wade Phillips got canned midseason, which is a rare move for the Cowboys, and Jason Garrett got the interim title and then all of a sudden became our actual head coach, that's when he struggled. But that season that he was the offensive coordinator, he was phenomenal, especially with Romo.
Well, and then that begs the question: who was the actual offensive coordinator, Garrett or Romo?
Oh, all right.
That's a good question.
I think at that point in his career, Romo hadn't taken over those duties. But I do think that the reason Dak was actually good his first year, or was as good as he was because he had Romo. Right. He had both Romo in the meeting room, and he had Romo right behind him if he let up at all.
That is a hell of a point. And now he has Kellen Moore right there. So
now he's got Kellen Moore. So hopefully Kellen Moore's got the smarts. I never heard anything about Romo and Kellen Moore talking, but
that's true.
Maybe this Kellen Moore situation is like that old adage, like those who can do, those who can't teach.
Yeah.
Just because he couldn't perform doesn't mean he's not brilliant at football.
Yeah, that's why you see a lot of times the most successful coaches are like backup quarterbacks.
Yes,
they never made it on the innate God-given skills, but they had the smarts and they had the studying, and they had that attitude where I'm going to learn everything about this craft. They had to put so much more effort into it because it didn't come as naturally to them.
You guys were just talking about Jason Garrett and how good he was as an offensive coordinator, but in his career, he was a middling quarterback at best, right?
He was another career backup.
He had that one game, the Thanksgiving game against Green Bay.
Yeah.
I'll always remember that. But, dude went to Princeton. Like, he is a smart, cerebral guy.
He is a smart dude.
Oh, by the way, I wonder what teachers think of that adage you used, Misty.
I know it's not the nicest thing to say, but it's true sometimes. I mean, not everyone can be good at everything.
For the teachers that do listen to this, especially some of my friends, I apologize for my wife. I'm just kidding. I'm kidding.
Teachers, then nobody could do anything. Teachers are really the backbone of everything.
Well, yeah, and I've actually always had conflicts with teachers, but that's a whole different topic.
I think that's more you related than teacher related.
I know.
So, okay, I have another question. Where does this go after this year? Like, do you see anything happening the next season?
Oh,
think
Garrett's
Witten-
gone.
No.
No,
Witten?
that I know. What about Witten? I'm trying to reel it back. Do you think he'll stick around for a length of
Witten's
time?
going to stay around 2 years max, probably just 1 year, and then he's going to come back as a coach. He's not going back to the booth. I think he got way too much Twitter hate.
Yeah, and I think
we totally missed all of this.
Yeah, I think it's unfair because what I'm reading is that he was being compared to Romo, and that's really not fair.
Oh yeah, no,
talking about
it's totally
a tight end
unfair.
versus a quarterback. Yeah. I mean, a quarterback has to know every offensive position where everybody's going to be, whereas a tight end has to know himself and maybe a receiver or two, or it's kind of an unfair comparison. But hey, that's the world we live in, especially with social media, especially Twitter. God, I wish they would shut Twitter down.
Oh yeah.
Speaking of, we have a Twitter. If anybody, until they shut it down. I'm just kidding.
It is possible too that Tony Romo is just naturally more charismatic than Jason.
Oh,
I mean, he's an amazing human, but maybe he's just not as entertaining to listen to as Tony Romo.
No, and if you, I don't. Did y'all go watch all the so-called flubs and everything that he had?
Oh man, I don't know if I can watch that.
I can.
Yeah, it really wasn't that bad. A lot of it you could just. I mean, the dude had never been on TV before.
Sure.
And now he's thrust into the biggest stage. And I know Romo's on CBS, but there is nothing else going on Monday night in the football world. Everybody who's into football is watching Monday Night Football, nationally televised games every single week, and he just got thrust into that stage the year after Tony came on and blew the world away with making his predictive calls and changing the entire way that color guys operate, and doing it with Jim Nantz there on CBS. And everybody was expecting Witten to be probably wrong, definitely wrongly expecting Witten to be Romo and to just take that over. I don't think Witten's quite. I think he's an extremely smart guy, and of course he hung out with Romo all the time, so a lot of the smarts probably rubbed off on him from there. But he's just not Romo, and Romo has a certain charisma that you always saw it. I mean, even when he was taking Jessica Simpson to Cabo and wearing his hat backwards. In those days, he even though he just totally hacked off all the diehard Cowboys fans who felt that Landry's way was the best way.
Right.
He still had that charisma. I mean, he was Hollywood. He was the next Joe Namath.
Is Jessica Simpson to blame for our demise, or I don't know? I'm just kidding.
Underwood.
Hey, Carrie Underwood's a saint.
She's never to
I'm
blame.
just kidding. Yeah.
Oh man.
Yeah, it's nuts. Like one little hidden thing that I actually found out while I was doing a little bit of research is that there's another super prominent name in the NFL who gave a shot at the booth and couldn't hack it, and that was Jerry freaking Rice,
the GOAT,
the best receiver. Some say the best player of all time.
When?
Oh, he retired in late 90s.
Believe so.
He didn't make it in 2000, I don't think. But he bounced around as an older player, and I think he gave it like a couple of games, and it was done.
Like he didn't even make it for a full season as a commentator?
I don't think so.
Oh, wow.
Dude,
No.
he didn't retire until 2006.
Oh my God!
But-
really?
Yeah. It's hard to
We've
believe.
been looking for a fact checker.
Hey, I'm good at Google. But no, yeah. In fact, I heard a lot of that as I was listening to all the Witten talk today. Everybody talking about Jerry Rice, and he tried it out 1 year, and he just said, you know what, that's not for me. I can't do it. I think Irvin had a little bit of that when he first started.
Right.
At first he really struggled, and he even got booted from the NFL Network at one point, didn't he?
Yeah, and I think with Michael Irvin, like the problem was he was trying to not be himself. Like he was trying to be a commentator, whereas when he went to the NFL Network, they probably told him, "Hey man, just be yourself." And now he's hilarious to watch, and I love watching him. Like he's super amped up. Like I love. Whenever the Cowboys are facing a dominant team, I love how Michael Irvin is just like, "Oh, we're gonna do this, we're gonna do that." I love that blind faith because that's so me every Sunday morning.
Yeah.
Um,
Now, were y'all around when he was on the radio here on the Fan in the
Probably
Metroplex?
not. Probably
Uh,
not.
yeah. No, I used to listen to him all the time. And for some reason, on the radio, he drove me absolutely crazy because he went on tangents all the time. Could
Oh
never
yeah,
stay on topic, and was always the way you see him on the NFL Network. He was like that every single day, the entire time he was on the radio.
for sure.
But in little doses on the NFL Network, especially when he's in a national audience and he's the Cowboys homer. Oh yeah, I'm on board.
For sure, for sure. So, I do want to end on this one little quick anecdote about Joe.
Uh-oh.
I'm scared.
So this is May 30th, 2010, at our wedding, actually.
Oh yeah.
And first of all, nobody knew who the hell you were except for me, Misty, and Angela, right?
That's true.
Because
100% true.
yeah, and we had just reconnected with Angela and all that stuff, and
Yeah.
and we didn't have a whole lot of mutual friends at the time. And Misty, we're all waiting for the wedding to start, and Misty was like, "Oh, you guys operate on Brown time. We have to have this wedding at this particular time because dinner has to be served, and we had to have the dancing and the vows and all this whatever, blah blah blah." And so, my whole family, I rushed everybody at the house to get in the limos to get to the venue, and Misty literally texted me. She's like, I forgot my, in our language, say dupata, which means a shawl or
A veil.
a veil. Thank you.
Yes.
And dude, my dad was like polling ladies, like, do you have one that's red? Do you have one that's red? No? Okay. Do you have one that's red? We need a red one. And so finally, I don't know whose suggestion. Oh, I think Joe, you suggested it. Like,
I think my wife offered me up for that one.
yeah, is that, yeah, that sounds so typical of wives, right?
Yep.
Like, oh, Joe'll do it.
Yep. Absolutely.
But yeah, I think you raced to her parents' house like 40 or 35 minutes away.
It normally takes 35 minutes.
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh, and they were doing all the construction. Oh my god.
I think I made it in 20. I was setting land speed records that day.
Awesome.
But I made it to a house of people who I'd never met, who
Yes.
I did not know, and had to go into their house. I remember the dog, and then go into their bedroom
Yep.
and find the veil somewhere
Yep.
on their bed.
Yep.
Oh man, it was a very awkward experience. But
Yeah. And
we
you didn't even
got
tell
it.
them. You didn't even tell them about your burglary history, by the way.
Absolutely. I mean, you mean there's a key? I don't have to break in.
Exactly.
I got this. Don't worry.
And I could handle it otherwise, but that just makes
Right.
it that much more quick.
Yeah. I mean, dude, you saved the day, and like,
Moral of the story: we are sitting here today talking to you because you saved our wedding.
yeah. Do you understand
Yes.
that when I'm running late and Misty gets upset with me, I always point to that. I'm like, dude, on the most important day, our wedding ran, I think, 50 minutes late or 1 hour
I
late.
think it was an hour.
Yeah.
Yeah. Only 40 of that was because I had to run over there. I don't know about
Sure.
the other 20. I made it
The
back.
other 20 was brown time.
Oh yeah. I had so many people texting me like, hey, are we here early? Like, what's going on, man? Like, are we getting started?
What's happening?
And I was like, yeah, I just didn't even respond. I was like, whatever, guys.
So
But,
thank you. If we've never said it before, thank you
Yes.
for saving our wedding.
My pleasure.
And hey, Joe, thanks a lot for being on with us,
Yeah, it was a
buddy.
good time.
It was great. I'm sure we'll have you on more football stuff, maybe around draft time.
Absolutely.
Definitely not preseason because I can't watch that stuff. I just got to I just look at the box scores and look for the injury
Yeah.
report, but I can't watch preseason football anymore.
Oh man, I tell you, I've got a buddy who, if he goes to a sporting event, he
Yep.
stays the entire time. He will not leave. He has to be in, like at a baseball game, he has to be in his seat at first pitch, and he
Oof.
will not leave until the game is over. We made the mistake of taking one car to a Cowboys preseason game in week 4 with them.
Oh God! So no, not even any starters.
No, we saw 10 minutes
Yeah.
of starters, and then the rest of the game was who cares.
Yeah.
And we had to sit there for the entire game.
Wow.
Great dude. I will not go to a preseason game with him ever again.
That's awesome. Oh man. All right, buddy. Well, I appreciate it, man. We will we'll have you on again. And yeah, man. So this has been Joe, a Cowboys enthusiast. Very knowledgeable, and I'm sure there's going to be plenty of Cowboys news because we are America's team. And it doesn't matter who won the Super Bowl, there's always Cowboys news that's going to take the nation by storm.
100%.
All right, buddy. Well, give love to the wife and kids, and I'm sure we'll see you all in Fort Worth soon.
All right, we'll do.
All right, buddy.
Thanks, Joe.
All right. Well, welcome back to our second segment. A lot of sports news to discuss here. Obviously, we dropped the bombshell, or sorry, I guess I should say a bombshell was dropped on us about Jason Witten coming out of retirement. So I think we beat that one to death. We talked about it with our buddy Joe, and that was obviously in the A block. So what else is going on in sports? I guess we have, I don't know, some baseball contracts that,
Just tiny ones.
yeah,
No big deal.
rocked everybody. So, when you're dealing with sports, you always deal with biggest ever. In the 80s, there's somebody had the biggest contract, and in the 90s, and it just keeps going on and on and on, right? The more the players progress, it happens to NBA, football, baseball, whatever. So, last week we had the biggest contract ever, and then another biggest contract ever. So now we have another biggest contract ever. It is Bryce Harper.
Of course.
He signed a humongous contract. I believe it's $330 million for 13 years
With the Philadelphia Phillies.
with the Philadelphia Phillies. And the per year number may not be as big as Nolan Arenado's, because his is $300 million for 10 years. So
Arenado is $260 for 8 years.
oh, I'm sorry, 260 for 8 years.
Machado's
was
10 for 300.
That's right. So the per year is not larger, but that
It's way smaller, actually.
Yeah.
We'll get into that.
yeah, because I think it's what
25.
25. Okay, that was pretty quick math. I did that in
It
my
was
head.
pretty
by
good. It's 25.4.
24.8 is what I did. Oh, dang! You should have just said
Yeah.
25.
Sorry.
Oh man.
Sorry. Well, since we're already talking about it, can I give the specifics? So,
Please.
Machado, obviously, 10 years, $300 million. That's $30 million a year.
That's easy math.
Easy capeasy. So Arenado is getting $32.5 million a year, and Bryce Harper is getting $25.4, which I don't really understand. Are we going down the Bryce Harper road? No, or
Yeah.
do you have something else to say? Okay.
No.
So some things that don't make sense about this to me. So first of all, he signed a 13-year contract with no opt-out, which to my knowledge and what I've heard does not mean that the team can't trade him at some point.
Right, they can trade him.
So what does an opt-out clause mean?
It means
exactly?
that they can't, he can't outright leave, or they can't outright cut him.
Oh, okay. And after, I think I heard after 5 years, the no trade clause is gone or something.
Sure.
So he's saying like, oh, I want to spend the rest of my career in a Phillies jersey, but that's probably not even going to happen.
Probably.
think.
What
13 years is a really long time, even
Right.
for a young guy like Bryce Harper.
I guess I'm a little bit confused. He had an opportunity to get, I believe, almost $40 million a year.
Well, he had a couple of opportunities.
Right,
The
so-
Nats offered him 10 for $300 million
Sure.
first, and he flat out said, no way,
Right.
not taking it. And then allegedly we heard that the Dodgers offered him 4 years for $180 million, which is $45 million a year.
And if he went that route, because he's 26, he could explore free agency again at 30 and
Still
get
young enough.
Yeah, and you know how inflation works. I mean, he could get another monster deal. He'd probably be the richest baseball player ever.
So none of this makes sense to me.
Yeah,
to be
like
honest.
it's very confusing. But a lot of it also is the Phillies park is a hitter's park. So he may want to inflate his numbers and increase the stats, and I understand all of that. And the number 330 is the biggest, so maybe that's the angle he was going for. What I don't know because I don't know his personality that much. I know the aspects I dislike, which is fine, whatever. What I don't know is that in 4 years, when another player signs a massive contract, let's say it's 10 years for 39 million, 39 million a year, compared to your 25.4, are you going to feel undervalued? Are you going to feel like, oh, hey, well, wait a second, I deserve X, Y, and Z? And this is why I don't like these super mega long-term contracts. I totally get, and this is what you see in sports all the time, especially in the NFL. You sign these 5-year, $80 million contracts, and you're like, oh my God, I did it. I didn't have to hold out and everything worked out. But then like 2 years down the line, you're like, well, wait a second. That guy is getting more than I am, and I produced better numbers than he did. I want to renegotiate. And I'm like,
You shouldn't have signed a 5-year contract then.
yeah, and there's two ways to go about that. Well, you see, you've signed the 5-year for the security.
Sure.
And there's two ways to, and NFL contracts are completely different than NBA and MLB, and I totally understand that. But there's two ways to go about this. Yes, you signed a contract, but you can also be cut by the team. So I totally get the player's perspective as well as the owner's perspective. So it's kind of a dicey road to go down. I guess Bryce Harper going to the Phillies, which is the Nationals' rival, is kind of a weird move. And honestly, you haven't really heard much chatter about it other than people analyzing the contract. So I guess we'll find out because, baseball is right around the corner.
Well, his numbers are not that impressive
You're
lately.
100% right.
His batting average last year was only 249. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that is not a quality highest paid baseball player ever batting average. I mean, he did have 34 home runs.
Right.
But even that's not, I know it's a lot, but it's not as high as it could be.
So
right?
I have it pulled up. His best statistical season is in 2015, batting .330 with 42 home runs. And then if you can bear with me, the next 3 seasons after that, 240 average, 24 home runs. 319 average, 29 home runs, which is still a good year. And then last year, 249 average, 34 home runs.
Well, there solves the mystery of why he signed a 13-year contract, because he's declining and he wants to get that money before people realize it. But if that is the case, why not sign the 4-year, $180 million contract with the Dodgers?
Right.
And see what happens in 4 years. At the end of the day, you'd still have $180 million.
Yeah, this is one of those concepts of an athlete betting on themselves.
And he's not betting on him. He's hedging here is what's happening.
So you see a lot of this happen with players who want that final contract. No, I'm not going to sign this. I'll play on a 1-year deal. If I play phenomenal, then I can leverage that into a 3-4 year deal to retire or whatever. Right. So I'm not really sure the angle here. I know what I would have done.
What would you have done?
Oh my God! Take the money and go to LA.
Yeah.
Are you kidding me? I mean, their weather is phenomenal. The Dodgers following is phenomenal. Yeah, that comes with a lot of added pressure, but who cares? You're getting 40, however much you said, 40 plus million a year.
45.
45 a year.
Yeah.
And in 4 years, if you want to reevaluate, fine. Go ahead. Yeah. Sign another contract with somebody else.
But it doesn't make sense.
But that's what I would do.
I would too. But if any of you listening know more about baseball than we do, you can maybe explain this logic here. Let us know.
Yeah, we'll have to get we'll have to figure that out. Or if any of you guys know an agent who is willing to sell my services for 40 plus million a year,
or less. Yeah, less would be acceptable as well.
I don't have the wear and tear on my body that these guys have.
No, that's true.
Yeah, they've had years of playing. I've had years of watching them play, so.
Literally coming off the couch.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, okay, I don't know. We'll hear more about this, I think, in the weeks to come or months to come. I don't understand the logic, but whatever. So I want to turn to a different topic if we can. Your boy Johnny Manziel has been kicked out of the CFL.
Yeah.
And not just asked to leave, but the Alouettes, what is it?
Montreal
Alouettes have cut him, and the CFL has told every team, if you make a contract with him, we will not acknowledge it. So he is banned from the CFL, and they won't really say why. But apparently he is now talking to the the AAF. Yeah. So we'll see if he ends up playing. But I'm curious, Shrook, what do you think about this? And do you think that he can play in these mediocre leagues, or do you think he's done for? Or maybe it depends on what he did?
No, he'll hang around. I mean, how did he get kicked out of the CFL? I'm not sure. Obviously, everybody knew he had a drug problem. He went to rehab. There was a domestic violence issue.
He was one big issue after another,
Yeah.
to be fair, even in college. So
Right. I mean, he was, he kind of had a spoiled mentality. There were issues in college with getting paid for signing, autographs. There's issues in college with drugs and alcohol. Everybody kind of saw him as a spoiled brat. I feel like his numbers were inflated because Mike Evans was such a phenomenal, tall receiver. The one thing that Johnny Manziel has going for him is his escapability. It's very Russell Wilson-like. But being relegated to the CFL and then getting kicked out and then not not even being allowed to earn in that league is something must have happened.
no, something had to have happened. There are lots of stipulations apparently in his CFL contract, and so I saw some of those. Like, he has been diagnosed with bipolar disorder.
Sure.
So he was required to get lithium levels checked every so often to make sure he was taking his medication.
Sure.
He was required to see a therapist every so often. He was required to not test negative on drug and alcohol testing or whatever. There were some stipulations that they came out with, but the CFL will not acknowledge which of those things he did not do, which makes me think maybe he didn't do any of them. I don't know, but
Yeah, and that's concerning because I guess I don't know. I'm so used to American sports where if a player sneezes in the wrong manner, it's TMZ Sports is there and
we know every time one of these guys fails a drug test.
yeah. So I don't know. I guess Canada have maybe a different standard or maybe their reporting isn't as intrusive. So I guess
Or maybe they had an agreement with him that they wouldn't release.
yeah. It could be. So I guess we'll have to just wait and see on that one.
I think it'll come out though eventually.
Sure.
Because I think that the AAF, if they end up not signing him, will say no. We found out because they have said that they are currently investigating what happened with the CFL to determine if he's even eligible or if they want him.
Right.
So I think it'll come out eventually. This guy is like the poster child for squandered talent. It's so
Yeah.
unfortunate.
Yeah.
And I know he has, like I said, he's been diagnosed with bipolar disorder, he has a legit problem, but there are lots of people living every day with bipolar disorder, having functional, healthy lives, so that's not really an excuse.
Right.
To me, I mean, he could have done so many great things, but I am just glad that the Dallas Cowboys dodged that bullet
Sure.
while we could.
I mean, he was the first freshman to be given a Heisman Award. And the funny thing with that is that the following year, another freshman got it. It's just, it is sad. I know a lot of times we look at these people and we kind of shit on them and their decisions. But at the end of the day, when you think about the opportunities, I guess to use your word, squandered, at the end of the day, it's sad. It's you could have a life of riches and fun and all the accolades and all that stuff, but you're not even given that opportunity because of decisions you made. And once again, this is not to, undermine or discredit anybody who has some kind of a mental sickness or an addiction issue. That's a whole different topic in and of itself. I'm talking about the immaturity issues. I'm talking about the responses to the questions to his problems. I'm talking about how he handled certain situations. I'm talking about videos, that he would take of, mocking the system, when he got drafted, having all this money and I could sit here and say I would do things 100% differently, and I would. My character, my personality. And look, I'm not everybody's cup of tea. I totally get that. But it's just sad when you think about that. We all dream of a life of, maybe not riches, but a life of comfort and luxury. And
fame,
yeah, for somebody to be that close to it and then just piss it away because of what, alcohol, partying, drugs, and
guess.
wanting to hit a girlfriend or something. Didn't he break her eardrum or something, or
Yeah,
ruptured her eardrum?
Yeah, he ruptured her eardrum because he hit
Yeah.
her so hard on the side of the head.
Yeah, I don't even know. I don't really know what the resolution to that was, but
I don't know.
anyway,
But the CFL did also say that something to the effect of he was provided with plenty of help, and what it sounded like to me when I heard what they had said was that, like, we tried to babysit him and it still didn't work. And I think that Cleveland tried to do that as well. I think Texas A&M tried to do that, and no amount of babysitting, counseling, talking to this kid. Look, he might have a legit mental illness and alcohol problem, drug problem, but he also has a I know everything and nobody can tell me otherwise mentality that apparently will never change. I mean, it didn't change after college said, oh, he'll be different in the NFL. After he was basically run out of the NFL, oh, maybe he'll be different in the CFL. And now he's been banned from the CFL. Not just released from the team, but banned.
I mean, I rooted for the guy. You know, watching him at A&M play. You know, a lot of my family went to A&M, or my brother and my dad went to A&M. So, you know, I would watch the game so I can kind of keep current. And I thought he was mesmerizing. But once I started seeing the cockiness, then I kind of started rooting against the guy. And that's just how I am. Yeah. But anyways, this, not the most fun topic in the world. And we'll have to kind of just wait and see on
it'll come out.
if he plays for the AAF. It's going to be a lot more difficult because they have different rules and they don't protect the quarterback. This is not a quarterback protected league. Oh, yeah.
I didn't know that.
I watched like 5 minutes of it and I couldn't watch it. Like, it's not the most fun thing for me to watch, but it's going to take me a little time.
He's certainly not going to make the kind of money that he would have made, even in the CFL, if I'm not mistaken. CFL player. I mean, the Canadian Football League is a legit, like, well-known football league. Not as much as the NFL, but still, I'm sure they make legit money. I don't think he's going to make a lot of money in the AAF.
Right.
But I don't know. Sharuk.
Yo.
Did you hear that Kyler Murray is actually 5'10"?
Yeah, I mean,
They can't stop talking about it. What are your thoughts?
I mean,
Oh my God.
I don't give a shit really be a thought? I mean,
They have not stopped talking about it since that man was measured. I don't get it.
I think, man, they put so much stock in the height thing. Like, Drew Brees is listed at, I think, 6, but he's not really 6 is what I hear. And he's had a very successful career, obviously. He's a Super Bowl champion. He's a New Orleans icon right now.
Yeah. And always will be.
Yeah,
I'm
I mean,
sure.
Kyler Murray having that extra half an inch or 1 inch and 7/8.
No, it's half an inch. They measured
Yeah.
him at 5'10" and 1/8, and that's 1/2 of an inch more than they thought.
I mean, it was an alert on my phone.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You turn on ESPN and they're talking about, oh, Kyler Murray's 5'10" and 1/8. I don't get it. I don't understand.
That's ridiculous.
Isn't it more important, like, how he played in college?
Sure, you would think so.
I don't know. It doesn't make any sense to me. So that'll be real interesting
Right.
to see if that changes who gets him. I don't know.
Yeah, and he's a phenomenal athlete. I believe we talked about it last weekend. I still would have probably gone the baseball route with him, even though it's not a guarantee, and there's not a lot of tape on him, but it's not a guarantee that he will make it to the big leagues. Like, he may have to stay in the minor leagues for a while. But when you have that name, you have people, like they put people around you to make sure, you use your skills to the best of your ability and try to get to the majors.
Well, and when a team like the Oakland A's says, okay, we'll start you on our farm system,
Right.
They're clearly interested in moving you through that
Yep.
system. They're not going to shove you in, the middle of nowhere, Arizona, and never think about you again.
Although Tebow hasn't made it to the big leagues yet.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Yeah, we'll see.
I don't know about that. We'll see.
Kyler Murray getting that extra half inch, I guess that's awesome. That's good for him.
I just don't understand why it's being talked about like
Yeah,
this.
because like they had his numbers on his hand size and his height and all. I'm sitting there like, my God.
9.5 inches.
Yeah.
Why do I know how big his hands are? Because it
Yeah.
was an alert on my phone.
Like, why don't you see how he does in the combine, and
everybody saw him play in college.
Right.
Like these guys, especially the 3 that are up for the Heisman Trophy every year. How much combine stuff do you need to see on them?
Well, I still
Like,
think it's
you st-
important.
Sure, it's important, fine, but these teams already know if they're interested before he runs or before he lifts or
Right.
before he gets measured.
Do
They
you even
already
lift,
know.
bro?
I don't. I
So
lift a toddler. That's tricky.
yeah. So, anyways, I guess the jury's out on Kyler Murray. Let's just see how the drafting goes. Like, this is why it's so difficult to talk about football. I will say this: I still think Tua Tagovailoa should have won the Heisman Trophy. That's my opinion.
You're sticking by that.
Another nice little bit of news that came out. This morning or last night. This morning is Sunday, by the way, March 3rd. So that came out last night or this morning is that the Jacksonville Jaguars are potentially going to, snatch up Nick Foles.
What about Blake Bortles, though?
Oh, man. I had a lot of faith in Bortles.
I think you and everybody else.
He's such a nice dude, and but he's had receivers. He's had some pretty good receivers. He's had a decent offensive line. Running game is now better, but it's frustrating. Man, I couldn't imagine being a Jacksonville Jaguars fan, especially since, they went so far into the playoffs last year, and they could have been a representative of the Super Bowl. And for them to fall again,
Yeah.
that whole organization, it just, Leonard Fournette, potentially being suspended, Blake Bortles probably had one or two really good years, but other than that, he's dropped the ball. He's had a lot of interceptions, a lot of fumbles. It just, man, it sucks. So Nick Foles, such a good dude. Maybe not the best quarterback in the world, but he's a Super Bowl champion, Super Bowl MVP. And I think Philly, I don't like, I guess, that Philly is banking on Carson Wentz, who is injury prone, who, I don't know. I think Nick Foles landing in Jacksonville, we'll kind of have to, wait and see when football starts how that pans out. But, best of luck to him. He's a good dude. He's religious.
Nick Foles, you mean?
Yeah, Nick Foles. He's a really good dude.
And he's still pretty young. He could. I mean, do you think that he's what Jacksonville needs, though? Do you think that'll fix their problems?
You know what, man? Honestly, their defense this year underwhelmed. Jacksonville is usually known for having a stout defense, but this past season they got torched.
Yeah.
Hell, Dallas put up a 40 burger on them, and we all know our offense scoring 22 points a game.
But now Jason Witten's back, so
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, it's a game changer.
yeah, I don't know. I'm interested to see. You were saying, I can't remember if it was on here or off off the podcast, but that you kind of thought Eli Manning might end up in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Which is clearly not going to happen now. I mean, and we should make it clear. I don't know if we did. This Nick Foles Jacksonville thing is allegedly going to it hasn't
Right.
happened yet.
It hasn't been
They're
signed,
just
sealed, and
saying
delivered just yet.
he's expected to sign in Jacksonville. So
Right.
it could not happen at all. But anyway, you thought maybe Eli Manning might end up there?
I think everybody thought that. Just because Tom Coughlin went to the Jaguars, it'd be like a little reunion. It'd be Eli Manning's last hurrah because New York is in a... New York, the funny thing is they invest in these skill players like an Odell Beckham or like a Saquon Barkley, but their offensive line, and they have invested in the offensive line, but those guys just haven't panned out. And Eli, instead of having, 3 to 5 seconds to throw the ball, has to get it out in 1 or 2 seconds, otherwise he's, plastered on the turf. So,
Bless his heart.
yeah. Oh, I'm happy. The Giants are making, potentially stupid decisions. The Eagles, I think, made a stupid decision by sticking with the Wentz.
So do you think, I'm just curious, call it now, it's March 3rd. Do you think Carson Wentz will play all 16 games next season?
Hell no.
Do you think he'll get hurt?
Absolutely. Yeah, he will get hurt.
When we talk about Carson...
not that I want that to happen.
Sure, but you think it will.
I think so.
When you are talking about him being so accident prone,
Injury
prone.
Yeah.
I'm accident prone. He's
Right.
injury prone. I'm hearkening back to Sam Bradford and how he played really, really well for a while in the NFL, but just could not stay. And now you don't hear anything about him. Do you think Carson Wentz will go down that path? Man, there was so much hope for him because Sam Bradford was lighting it up for a
Right.
very short period, and then he tore his ACL or something.
Multiple
then
times,
he broke
yeah.
his leg, I think, or something, and just one thing after another with that guy. And now Where is he even? Do you know? I have no idea. I feel like he's probably a third stringer on some team.
I thought he was the backup for Minnesota, but you know what? I gotta look that up real quick.
Like backup or like, I mean, and he's another one. Like, I really thought there were high expectations for. I don't know if I drafted him, but I had him on my fantasy team one year, and he did really well for a couple games, and then nothing. So I'm just wondering if Carson Wentz is going to head down that path, or I don't know. We'll see.
He is right now God, I'm good. He was a backup for the Vikings, and he is now a backup for the Cardinals.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. That's just what I'm thinking. So we'll see. I guess time will tell. But I have to agree with you. I don't think Carson Wentz will play all 16 games, and then I don't know. I don't know what will happen over there.
Yeah.
The Eagles, but I'm fine with it. As a Cowboys fan, so
Yeah, and honestly, we can't talk Cowboys anymore because we used up a lot of our allotted Cowboys talk.
we did.
Yeah.
We may not be able to mention them at all next week. We'll see what happens.
Yeah, unless you never know. I'm just
Something
kidding.
happens. Still waiting for DeMarcus Ware to sign that contract to come back.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
It would be.
But yeah, other than that, Lakers still stink.
They
yeah.
ain't making the playoffs.
Yeah, I know. I believe they're like 4.5 games back with 19 games to go.
So yeah, something like that.
And the Clippers are not doing fantastic, but I don't think the Lakers can make up that 4.5 games with 19. It's
way.
funny.
But
when they
LeBron's activated though.
Yeah. I
What?
know. When they shifted the All-Star game, it used to be closer to halftime, but we just had the All-Star game a few weeks ago.
Oh, closer to the middle of the season?
Yeah, and now it's just like, oh my God, there's only 19 games left. It's nuts.
You think it's better this way? Is that what you're saying?
well,
you liked it better before?
Yeah, I think
who
so.
cares about that? It's just a break, right? That's
Yeah, it is, but it's nice to have the kind of like divide the season in almost two. But anyways,
yeah.
or almost an even two. But yeah, I don't see them making up ground to get to the playoffs, because if you think about it, I think LeBron James, if he was smart, he would actually opt to not make the playoffs, because if they
Oh, he'd never do that on purpose.
yeah, but if they scrap all the way to the 8th seed, they're just going to get blown out by the Warriors in 4 games.
Yeah.
It's not
they
even
will
going to be a
get swept.
competition. So I think the best thing that the Lakers should do, and I hate this word, I hate it, but I think they should tank. Try to get a draft player, and what LeBron James does with draft players is parlay them into another, a free agent acquisition.
But do you think LeBron James has it in him, in his personality or his repertoire, to tank a team? I don't think he can do it. Not intentionally. I don't think he would ever do that. But I wrote down here too, like the Lakers still have to play the Bucks and the Raptors, which are 1 and 2 right now, and the Warriors and the Nuggets, which are also 1 and 2. Like they have to get through all these.
The Bucks beat them 3 nights ago.
Oh, did they already play them?
Yeah.
Yeah, I wrote these numbers down a few days ago.
Yeah.
But so you don't think they're going to make the playoffs?
I think it's too much to overcome, unless the Clippers have an epic collapse, unless Sacramento does not progress. I think it's gonna be tough.
So, okay, I feel like we have heard a lot of LeBron James saying different things about his team. Oh, if you can't be distracted, then this isn't the place for you. Well, I'm activated, but I can't speak for my other teammates.
I think the distracted.
He was
comment,
asked
yeah.
about distractions.
Yeah, okay.
I know. I'm not trying to take it out of context, but I'm just saying he's been talking a lot.
Right.
And so he's seemingly blaming the rest of the team. Like, basically, like, I activated playoff mode, and where y'all at?
I don't normally like to read into a lot of comments, but I was watching one of these super early ESPN shows, and I don't remember even what it was, but they started singling out, like, with the Lakers towards the most recent games, the I and we, or the I and they, as opposed to we are not ready, we are not playing right.
Right.
He's starting to kind of separate himself.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of weird. It's funny because, LeBron James is not an idiot. He knows how to manipulate the media.
Mm-hmm.
He knows how to manipulate people. He knows how to, and manipulate is not in the bad sense of the term either. I'm not saying that, but as far as,
That's part of the reason he's become so valuable.
Right.
Is because he knows how to play to that, to the media, to the fans, to the whatever.
I am wondering if his teammates are like, hey, man, I don't like you throwing me under the bus. I've got a family. I've got fans. I've got, people to support. So I don't, I don't want to sit here and get thrown under the bus just to get my ass traded in the offseason or next year. So I wonder if there's like a revolt going on in the Lakers camp. But, honestly.
I mean, do you really think that Kuzma or Ball or any of these other guys who were offered up for Anthony Davis, you think after that didn't happen, they went to work the next day and LeBron was like, hey guys, I'm sorry, it's just business. And they were like, oh, it's all good. We totally understand. I seriously doubt that's how it went down.
You know what's funny is that there are people that deny that LeBron James has pull over the GM to make, changes.
Are the people who denying this the GMs?
I don't know.
Because it's been very clear since.
I'm kind of wondering, why do we have that thought that he manipulates? Like, why do we think that he got rid of Wiggins to get Kevin Love? Why do we think? I don't know. But, okay, well, what's your basis though? Is it just kind of speculation?
No, I don't think so. I think it's things that he's said in the past, things that he's alluded to. Because the thing about LeBron James, in my mind, is that he doesn't take a lot of the blame. He doesn't flat out. I'm not talking about Ben Roethlisberger, who just flat out blames everybody else.
Right.
He has a way of saying things where, like I said before, like, I activated playoff mode, and the implication is I did, but nobody else did.
Right.
My teammates aren't holding up their end of the bargain. I think in the past he's said things that imply that he was responsible for. I don't think it's in his nature to not take credit for these moves. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah,
Getting these other players. So I think there's like a not guarded, but like coded way that he tells the media, like, oh yeah, I was responsible for this when it works out. But I'm curious your thoughts. What's he going to say if they don't make the playoffs? Or even better, let's say they do scrape to the playoffs somehow and they get swept.
Oh my God, what if he blames? I actually this probably came in my head because I heard it somewhere. Maybe even something he said, but. And it could be legit because before he got injured, they were in 4th place, and they have fallen since he got injured. And now that he's back, they're struggling.
But some of that could be because of the teams they've come against too.
Yeah.
Not all that has to do with him getting hurt.
That is true. I don't know.
I don't think anyway.
This next 4, 5, 6 weeks, with playoff seeding, teams moving up and down the standings, are going to be very interesting. I mean, we had I think 8 seasons in a row of LeBron James in the finals.
Yep.
And it is going to be really weird to not even forget not the finals, to not even be in the playoffs, because all the hype when he signed with the Lakers, oh my God, Western Conference Finals, Golden State versus Lakers, book it. But for him to not even be a threat is going to be really weird. It's going to be really weird.
But how does that affect his, not legacy? He's one of the greatest basketball players. I get that. But this whole LeBron or Michael Jordan conversation, is it affected if they don't even make the playoffs?
Yes.
Like if they don't even sniff the playoffs?
Yep.
So if they finish in 10th place, then this is finally put to rest, or there's still those diehard LeBron fans?
No, there will always be diehard. And honestly, I can't even entertain this topic because the eye test is so, it's so different between LeBron James and Michael Jordan.
Mm-hmm.
Michael
we
Jordan
talked about this last episode too. Like,
the only player that Michael Jordan himself has said is like Michael Jordan is Kobe Bryant. Because when the clock is ticking down 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, that person wants the ball. They don't want to pass the ball.
Right.
That person is going to make that free throw. LeBron James his free throws have been declining. So, it's a lot of factors.
Another thing we didn't mention, too, is them just barely beating the Pelicans at home.
Yeah.
Like, that happened this week,
yeah,
right?
and that's after they got beat by the Pelicans without Anthony Davis. But
So, yeah, I'm curious to know, not just what the media will say. I think I kind of know what, we will be saying if they don't make the playoffs. I'm curious to hear what he has to say.
Right.
And who he will blame, and the first person to go will be Luke Walton.
Yeah.
The first, no question.
Yeah, he's already on the hot seat.
The day after they don't make the playoffs, he's out.
It's just so funny, year one of his coaching, career, and he's already about to be nixed out of the Lakers.
And
That's
that, I think, is all LeBron.
right.
But-
And in addition to LeBron and his, weird way of talking and blame sharing and all this crap, you have Kyrie Irving, who is going through his own stuff in Boston. So, and I don't have the direct quote in front of me, nor do I need it. I just want to explain. Brad Stevens, the coach of the Celtics, was being asked about their losing ways as of late. And Brad Stevens just said, we're not focused, we're not whatever, typical coach speak, right? Well, when Kyrie Irving was asked, what do you think about Brad Stevens saying this? Mm-hmm. He didn't say, Coach Stevens said this or this and that. He said, that's Brad's opinion.
Oh, no, he didn't.
I understand Brad Stevens is probably the youngest coach in the NBA, but he is still your coach, man. There's still a hierarchy.
That's integral to the sports, right? There has to be that.
It's like LeBron taught him everything in Cleveland.
But isn't that why he separated from LeBron? You think he just wanted to be like LeBron?
But then this year he called LeBron and apologized, I didn't know what it took to be a champion and to lead people. Dude, you know what, man? You might be considered a superstar, but that doesn't mean you have to shit on your younger teammates. You know what? When your ass was injured last year, they went to the playoffs. Mm-hmm. Tatum balled out. They have a good team. And they did that without even Gordon Hayward. Gordon Hayward, I think, injured himself in the first 6 minutes of the game. He broke his leg.
Oh, yeah.
God, I don't understand the cockiness of just, I didn't get what it meant to lead a young, inexperienced team. Man, screw you, dude. While you were recovering last year, they were balling out, and they were doing just fine.
I think there are a couple of things here. I think these conversations, like superstars calling superstars and apologizing or saying, hey, I didn't realize, or you're the best, or whatever. I think these conversations have always probably happened. But why do we know about it? That bothers me a lot. Why do we need to talk about it publicly? Just do your thing and be done with it. It's just like these guys hanging out in the off season. I don't want to see it. I know it happens. I don't want to see it. I like the illusion that they hate each other. I don't care about that.
I think this harkens back to you getting so mad that Chris Parsons and DeAndre Jordan were hanging out after DeAndre Jordan,
Don't get me started.
Okay. So
you have to just accept that this is how basketball is now.
Yep.
And this is the modern basketball player. Kevin Durant with the feels, Kyrie Irving with the apologies, LeBron James as the GM. This is what basketball has been allowed to become. And that's it.
Cryptic tweets.
So, I don't know.
Anyways, we're going to go and take a quick break. When we come back, we are going to play what might be the most obnoxious game on earth.
Or it could be the funniest.
Yes. So if you want to go and take a bathroom break, or you want to pull over to the gas station, just let your radio run. Now might be the time. I'm kidding. No, we're going to play a game called Vopinions. All right, guys. We'll be right back. Well, we are back from our little break, and we are going to play a Misty-inspired game called Vopinions. So essentially, we're going to take just a few questions that we have for each other, and instead of just talking about it like we normally do, we are going to play it through a vocoder.
We T-pained our opinions, y'all.
Oh, I'm already regretting even partaking in this.
I have a theme song. Can I play it?
Honestly, I can't say no. We're equal in this,
All right.
Vopinions, because everything sounds better with a vocoder.
It only gets better from there.
I am thoroughly annoyed. But be that as it may, I like participating, I like trying different things. I tried kale once. That was interesting. All right, well, Misty, let me go ahead and start you off with the very first question.
All right.
So Dirk is, the rumors are he's a little bit uncertain of if he is actually going to retire. He is saying that, it might be fun to play with Luka Doncic and Kristaps, and we have a young team full of really good quality players, good character players.
Yeah.
Shouldn't be any drama. Everybody's on a under contract, so there shouldn't be, any offseason drama. Well, Kristaps has to still sign long term potentially. So what do you think about, him potentially coming back for a 21st season, even though the league is essentially saying, bye, Felicia, it's time to go. Everybody's kind of sending him off without him officially retiring.
Mm-hmm.
Dirk, you're my favorite player of all time, but you need to go ahead and move it down the line. Besides, we already started saying goodbye.
Why are you
I am
laughing?
so sorry. This is the most annoying thing in the world.
I think it's funny.
The vocoder. Oh my gosh.
Vocoders are amazing. Okay, and just to add to that, just to explain, everyone already started saying goodbye to him.
Sure.
If he comes back for another season, it's going to be awkward. Nobody's going to know what to do. And he's already not playing that much. Like, let's just give it a rest.
Yeah,
Dirk.
but
He's always going to be around.
I see his point of view, though. He now, he played the last few seasons without that great of a cast, and now he has two up-and-comers that
Totally get it.
could change the entire dynamic of the franchise.
I totally get that. But then what happens the subsequent season when he says, well, the first season we all played together wasn't that great because we were all learning and gelling. So I think I'll come back for a 22nd season. Like, where does it end?
But it's like saying, I don't want Bruce Willis to be in Die Hard 5, 6, and 7,
I don't think anybody wanted Die Hard 5, 6, and 7. I don't think that's a good comparison.
Next
Anyway,
question.
all right. Okay. Sharuk, what is your opinion about Earl Thomas wanting to be the highest paid safety in the NFL, but also wanting to play for the Dallas Cowboys, but refusing to give the Cowboys a hometown discount?
You're messing with the very best.
So essentially,
I see what you mean now. The game is pretty annoying.
so Earl Thomas has stated that he is most likely not going to give a hometown discount, even though he is a childhood Cowboys fan and wants to play for the Dallas Cowboys. And what I'm saying by you're messing with the very best is never underestimate the power Jerry Jones has in the negotiating room. We got to remember, this is still the guy who was the first entrepreneur or CEO to get Pepsi and Coca-Cola in the same stadium.
Just depending on which way you look.
On opposite end zones. I mean, look, when you go to Pizza Hut, you're not getting Coke. You're getting Pepsi products.
Mm-hmm. And also when you go to Pizza Hut, you're not getting Domino's pizza. You've never been anywhere that's sponsored by two pizza places.
Yeah, it's insane. So, he's phenomenal. He gets players. I mean, I have faith in Jerry, and I actually think Earl Thomas will come to the Cowboys. It's just kind of a wait and see. This is so early. Like Jerry Jones just started talking to the Earl Thomas folks at the Combine, so we'll see what happens. All right.
I just wanted to say the part that bothers me about this is not the no hometown discount. I agree with you. I think he will end up coming to the Cowboys, but since when do players pursue being the highest paid? Like, if it happens organically, I totally understand that, and it's really respectable. I think at one point, Jay Cutler was like the highest paid quarterback, and we all know he's a donkey. So, if it just happens and your team does that, then that's awesome. But since when do players seek to be the highest paid publicly? I'm sure privately they all secretly want that, but to say, I want to be the highest paid whatever in the NFL, it's weird.
I guess if you can back it up with the numbers, then,
I guess. All right, I don't know.
We'll see.
Okay.
All right. So, Misty, what is your opinion of, your Vopinion? This is going to be kind of an adjustment for me, of our boy Jason Witten. I know we talked about this quite a bit with Joe, and, it's pretty breaking news. So, what is your opinion of Witten coming back after the last few seasons? He's had a statistical decline. However, we still have faith that he'll be a nice crutch for Dak a safety blanket, security blanket, if you will. So what is your opinion on him coming back after a statistical decline?
Witt can still catch it if Dak can release it. Guess he got tired doing all that speaking. He may have been on a statistical decline, but his knowledge of the game means he'll do just fine.
I wish you guys could see Shruk's face right now.
I think you spent way too much goddamn time on this.
I didn't spend much time at all, to
You
be fair.
came up with a two line or like a 4-line verse.
And it's good, right?
It
If any of you
is.
are looking for vocoding for your songs, let me know.
I think, like, being married to you for so long, maybe it's your voice. Maybe it just pierces through my brain, and hearing it with a vocoder doesn't help. Maybe
the vocoder enhances.
right. Perhaps we should play a game called like Muter.
Silent Opinions.
Yeah, Muter. Hey, Missy's gonna talk to this Muter app.
Hey, for once, Misty's gonna not tell me what she thinks about something.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay,
Please elaborate.
Yeah, so I think that, like we talked about in the first segment, Witten is still perfectly capable of catching it as long as Dak is capable of throwing it, which he has had a problem with at times. But the statistical decline doesn't really matter to me. What matters to me here most is that he's going to be a good mentor and that he's going to be a good example in the locker room. I think Joe mentioned in the first segment, like, he's going to be in a coaching capacity as well as playing capacity. So I think that is more important than statistically him being less of a tight end than he was 5 years ago.
For sure. I 100% agree. You can't dispute that.
It's a first.
I think it's not more of a he's going to be a fantastic tight end. It's going to be more of a he's going to help everybody in the locker room and the young tight ends that we seem to draft every single year.
He's going to be an important piece on the team, not like a game-changing tight end.
Right.
All right, Shruk, last one. What is your opinion about Nick Foles being cut from the Eagles?
These hoes ain't loyal.
Oh, this is good. See, I did like a whole song. You did like a line.
Yeah.
I like it.
I was under the assumption. So if you can't tell, we haven't heard each other's.
Oh, yeah. I meant to say that at the beginning. We did not.
Yeah.
Like, we only told each other the questions.
I was under the assumption that we were just doing one-liners.
Well, we can from now on. Now I feel embarrassingly over-prepared. So these hoes ain't loyal.
Yes. And what I mean is, the gall of the Philadelphia Eagles. My God. You drafted Carson Wentz 2nd overall. He's under a rookie contract. You got Nick Foles, who was your backup quarterback, who, when Carson Wentz tore his ACL, and I believe a PCL, but let's just say ACL only,
Mm-hmm.
Nick Foles took the reins and played better.
And
Yeah,
he
I understand.
took 'em.
I understand Carson Wentz had a better statistical season that first year. The second year, excuse me. But Nick Foles came and played lights out, won the Super Bowl against Tom freaking Brady. Comes back the next year. Carson Wentz breaks his back because of the Dallas Cowboys. I like how I call like a very slight fracture a broken back. It just
Right.
makes it sound so much more hardcore.
Yeah.
But breaks his back, and guess what Nick Foles does?
Played well again.
Plays well again, wins the must-win games
Yeah.
to get in the playoffs, wins the playoff game, and has won Alshon Jeffrey drop from going to the NFC freaking championship game again. I was watching that game. I swear to God, there was like I think like a minute and a half left in the fourth quarter, and I was getting ill. I was like, oh my God, what if Nick Foles takes them back to the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Because then we can't
bad
call
news
we
for
can't call
Cowboys
the
fans.
Eagles a one-hit wonder.
All right.
You know, it's like one of those '80s one-hit wonders that comes out with a second track. You're like, damn, well, I can't make fun of them anymore.
Right.
You know, like Faith No More Epic. It's a one-hit wonder.
Right.
You know,
Is it really? It's such a great song. I didn't know that.
Well, their only other good song was War Pigs, and that's a cover of Black Sabbath. See, man, we know a lot about music too.
Yeah.
Stay tuned for our musical podcast.
But we won't be singing.
But, and I understand signing the franchise tag for him is in the 20 millions. But man, you got to respect the guy. He won your city the only Super Bowl championship you have. And you're banking all this on Carson Wentz, who has admittedly been, in his words, not mine, he could have been a better teammate. And that speaks volumes. Do you understand, in the last 3 years, the Eagles have only won 4 playoff games, and all 4 were Nick Foles.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow. So what is the reasoning here? Because, okay, I understand a situation where, like, there's an old quarterback and a young guy, and the young guy plays well, so he gets, the nod, and the old guy has to move down the line. I'm thinking, like, Peyton Manning and Brock Osweiler.
Oh, I was thinking Any Given Sunday.
Oh, okay. Sure, that works too. But these guys are relatively the same. Nick Foles is not some washed up has-been. He's kind of young
like 31,
still.
32.
We're not talking about an old, about to retire quarterback. So, do you think they just didn't want to admit that they might have been wasting their time with Carson Wentz? So they think that they can groom him to be the franchise guy?
I think
is
a lot
it money? What do you think?
No, it's definitely not money. Oh, okay, it's money for Nick Foles, yes.
So is it metrics, like for the Eagles?
I don't even think it's metrics. Man.
Because you're saying statistically Carson Wentz is a little bit better.
I think it's more of a return on investment. When you use that first round pick, which is the second overall pick,
Right.
you expect that person to be your day one starter, and you expect that person to play out their rookie contract and sign to an extension.
And you don't give up so easy on them, sure.
Now, Carson Wentz is injury prone. He's a talented quarterback, but do you know what the counterattack was for the Eagles when Carson Wentz was in?
What?
You guard Zach Ertz. You double Zach Ertz, and Carson Wentz
He can't do anything.
played like crap.
Yeah.
Now, if Zach Ertz is not doubled, Zach Ertz will get you your 8 receptions, 125 yards, 2 touchdowns, because Carson to Ertz it's a lethal combo. But you get teams with a defense that double team Ertz and Foles. I don't know what it is. Not Foles. Wentz, and I'm not really even sure what it is. Maybe he's a little bit overrated.
Maybe.
Maybe.
It's really dangerous when you. Excuse me. It's really dangerous when you have a quarterback that can only throw to like one person. What if that? Not only if that person is covered well, but what if that person gets hurt? It's football. Like it happens every Sunday.
No kidding. So, anyways, that's my opinion. And we just heard that, and it's not official just yet, but Nick Foles is going to the Jacksonville Jaguars, which, there was speculation last year that because Tom Coughlin's the Jags, that Eli Manning would have been traded and that the Giants would have gotten somebody in the draft. But this is just a whole mess, and I love that it's early March.
I was going to say it's still really early.
We saw the draft. We have the free agency period. We have all kinds of fun stuff coming up, and we're still talking about football.
We will talk about all of this in more depth, I'm sure.
Sure. All right. So the last question for the Vopinions, and this is actually kind of a serious question, so I guess we're gonna make it not so serious with the.
We're about to mess it up here.
But how in the heck can Robert Kraft plead not guilty when he was caught on tape? Soliciting, and I totally understand.
Not just soliciting; the actual act was caught on tape.
Yeah.
Not that. At first, I thought they caught him on tape paying for it. No,
Right.
they have him on tape receiving whatever it was that he paid for.
And look, we're under no guise.
Allegedly, I haven't seen the.
We're
tape,
under no guise that he's going to be in jail. He's a billionaire. This is America. He's going to get out of it. But okay, so Misty, how could he plead not guilty?
How you gonna plead not guilty when they got your ass on video? 'Cause you got all that money. Everyone will forget this though. But not those poor unfortunate souls who saw those videotapes. They'll probably never forget.
I think that's pretty self-explanatory.
Unfortunately, that one was actually pretty funny.
I don't know who in the Jupiter police department, FBI, Florida State Police had to watch the videotapes, but God bless.
Yeah, I guess, and this conversation can span, the celebrities getting special treatment, I think we discussed it on last week, like, he's a billionaire, so like, I'm not going to turn myself in today, because that's not cool. I got an Oscar party to go attend to.
My family wants to spend time this weekend.
Yeah.
But what I don't understand is, okay, fine. If you don't think he'll be charged with anything or he'll actually do jail time, I totally agree with that. But he's on video.
Yeah.
So normally I feel like even a famous person or a person with a lot of money would be like, okay, you got me, but I'm really sorry. It was poor judgment. I didn't know those girls were being held against their will,
Well,
or something. Like, there has been no contrition, no statement, no nothing. And he's on video. Like, if they couldn't prove that he did it, I totally understand saying, I didn't do it. I'm not guilty. That wasn't me. That was Jonathan Kraft. And that was my cousin. That wasn't me.
why are you going to sell out your cousin, though? I'm just kidding.
Because, I don't know,
No,
but
I
it's on tape.
Yeah, I understand there's no contrition. And right now, because I think the investigation is still ongoing, maybe his lawyers, and I'm pretty sure his lawyer is saying, like, do not make a statement right now.
But they moved up the trial or the hearing or whatever to
Right.
the end of this month. So we'll find out in a couple
Hey,
weeks.
all right. So I think
Yeah.
a couple episodes in, we'll.
And he requested a juryless trial.
Oh my God! It should be a jury in of just like New York fans, or no?
Wait, who are the biggest rivals of the Patriots right now?
Honestly, nobody.
Right.
They're just in a class of their own.
Yeah.
But anyways, like, what are you gonna do? Billionaires get off, easy in this country. If you have money,
It's an unfortunate choice of
yeah.
words.
However, I do have a story I'd like to share with you guys.
Okay.
And this is very personal. History was made this past weekend.
Okay.
For the first time in my life, in 20 years of driving, I was issued a warning.
Speaking of famous people getting off with stuff.
I have never in my entire life been pulled over and not gotten a ticket. Okay, sorry. It happened one time, but I wasn't speeding. I was stopped at a light, and the dude said I looked suspicious, or I was making suspicious moves because I was looking in my rear view mirror and my side view mirror because I thought it was a cop, and it was a cop. Anyways, that can go down different alleys, but this is the first time that I was speeding. I was going. See, I was thinking about lying, like, man, I was going 85 and a 40. I had like.
But that just makes you sound unsafe. 40 sounds like a residential type area.
Yeah, but
I
it
was
makes you
going
sound,
120 on the highway sounds better.
Okay. So if you do the speed limit, get the F out of my way.
Right.
Ludacris said it,
Yeah.
best. No, so I was doing 41 and a 30, which is not crazy. 40
not
is
bad
a
at
standard speed limit anyways. But I was crossing a bridge, and apparently the speed limit for that specific bridge is 30. And this guy was so cool, and like, I didn't even have to like, bat my baby brown eyes or like, twirl my sideburn or my beard.
Because that was the first question I had. Like, how'd you get a warning?
Yeah.
How'd that happen?
I literally was like, oh, and I handed him my license and insurance. I was like, oh, excuse me, officer, what did I do wrong? He's like, oh, you were going 41 and a 30, are you in a rush tonight? And I was like, actually, no, I just didn't know I didn't know it was 30 miles an hour.
It's not paying attention.
He was like, he literally just was like, we made small talk about a few things, and he was like, okay, well, let's just do a warning. And I didn't even know what to do. It's like,
This is uncharted territory.
Yeah,
Do I
it's like-
thank him? Do I shake his hand?
it's like, when you ask out like that girl that's way out of your league, like you have two things to do. You can either play it really cool, or you're in such disbelief that you start overcompensating and starting acting stupid. So like, I'm like shaking the guy's hand. And
I'm trying to remember which one you did with me.
No comment. But I'm like shaking the guy's hand, and I'm like, oh yeah, man, my daughter's birthday's this month. And like, he completely he didn't even ask. Like, I didn't play it cool. I just, sometimes when you're guilty, you start like dancing around with your words and your
Yes,
speech.
absolutely.
And that's what I was
Yeah.
doing. And, but
Or you start just saying things that are unnecessary.
yeah.
Like, he already said it's okay that you were speeding. You're like, but I really just wasn't paying attention. I'm so sorry. It's like, it's okay. Just let it go.
Because it was like 11:30 at night, and I was like, oh, AGB closes in 30 minutes. The grocery store closes in 30 minutes. I need charcoal. July 4th is just around the corner. You know, like, geez, man. Like,
Stay
play it
safe
cool.
out there, officer.
Yeah, there's, it's funny. I'm in my 30s, and knock on wood, I haven't gotten a ticket in, I think, 8 years. 8 years, yeah, that's a pretty good streak for me. Thank God for radar detectors. But
There were a couple of years where you and I combined got like 6 tickets in like 2 years.
you got 2 in the span of 45 days on
I
the
did.
same highway.
in the same city.
Yeah,
Thanks a lot, Haslett. Wasn't it Haslett?
it was
Somewhere
no,
up
it was
that
north
way.
something.
Whatever.
Anyways, but even though I didn't think I was doing anything wrong, anytime you see a police officer behind you, I turn into like that 17-year-old
Everyone
with the
does.
backwards cap and the cigarette. Like, oh my God, I'm so nervous.
You
But
replay the last 5 minutes. Like, what did I do?
Yeah.
Did I change lanes without signaling? Did I
better-
honk my horn accidentally?
You
What
better
happened?
straighten your collar so
Yeah.
you look like an upstanding gentleman. But anyways, I want to share that piece with you guys because
Well, congratulations to you.
Thank you. That's historic. It's so historic that I have to post that like on my personal Facebook because that's just that cracks me up. Like I've never had that happen. But so if anybody could let me know, what does a warning mean? Does that mean that
It
there's
doesn't mean anything.
No, I'm saying, but he gave me a print off, right? And it has a warning
Because
number.
I think because he has to have a record that he pulled you over, but I don't think it has anything to do with you or your insurance or anything like that.
No. I know that part. That part I get. But I wonder, does that mean that I can't get out of another pullover situation?
I doubt
Which
it.
How
about you just don't get pulled over again?
Yeah. It was like 11:30 on a Thursday night. Mm-hmm. Dude. Oh, but it's end of month.
Yeah. Well,
So-
but he still didn't give you a ticket.
He didn't. Yeah.
This is such a historic thing. I will be happy to write you a vocoder song about it. if
No,
you'd
that's
like.
that's okay.
Okay. If you change your mind, you know where to find me.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not gonna throw anybody under the bus, but there are some females that play the female card and cry when they get pulled over
I've done it before.
to avoid getting a speeding. Hey, I'm not throwing any names out there.
I've done it before, but it was a female officer. I just cried because
Oh.
I was really upset, and I was only 16 at the time,
That I didn't know.
or 17.
I have done like the accent, like
I just started
I
driving. in
didn't
this
know the
country.
speed limit. They're like, dude, come on, dude, stop it. But anyways, I thought I'd like to share that little gem. So, this was kind of a slow sports week to start, but then we had a few gems that came in towards the end with Nick Foles potentially going to the Jaguars.
Bryce Harper.
The Bryce Harper signing, the Nolan Arenado
And
signing.
Witten, obviously.
And of course,
Something
Jason
always
Witten.
happens.
Yeah. So anyways, we're going to go ahead and wrap it up.
Don't forget to like us on Facebook, Instagram, and or Twitter,
Yeah.
and subscribe. You can do it on iTunes or on Podbean or Google Play. Mm-hmm. And if you have any topic ideas or you want to tell us how awesome our vocoded songs were, hit us up at snmsportstalk@gmail.com.
Or if you want to play the vocoder song, the vocoder game, for
Oh.
Jesus Christ.
Yeah, if
it's-
you want to be part of it.
Yeah, you just have to download an app, call us in, or we'll figure
We'll
it out.
figure it out.
It's
Just let
super
us know.
simple. Yeah, we're not really running like a very intricate,
It's not a
Deal
well-oiled
here.
machine over here.
My English is really struggling today.
Have more coffee. You'll be okay.
Yeah. But anyways, and also please, we love the feedback and all the emails and messages and stuff. So you can email us at snmsportstalk@gmail.com. So anyways, until next week, I'm
Have
sure.
a good week.
Yeah, I'm sure there's going to be plenty more to talk about. All right. Take care, guys.
Bye, everyone.